maybe when you're making this first communication with someone, maybe you forget your business cards. Social media and business cards have previously done this for us, but what if you forget your business cards? I can't read your handwriting when you scribble it down. I can't find you on Google or search you on LinkedIn. What if, even if you have your business cards, your job title changes or you get a new phone number? These are problems that could result in millions of dollars of what... Woo! What if there was an application that allowed us to do this contact sharing process quickly, efficiently, and pains-free? I'm Joshua Absher,
You're fine.
And I would like to introduce you to DropCards, the new best way to share contact information. At the touch of a button, your phone can drop your card into the real world using your phone's geolocation data. Other nearby users can then pick this card up and add it to their in-app Rolodex, which syncs with their local contacts. You can have different cards for different occasions. So for example, you may have your business website, your LinkedIn profile, and your phone number attached to a corporate card, your Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account attached to a personal card, and a separate phone number and email for the dog walking business that you run on the weekends. Other applications like Bump and about a dozen different digital business card apps have attempted to provide this functionality, but they fall short. They're limited by near-field communication technology, NFC, QR codes, and scanning physical media. When it comes to the business applications, they don't even scratch the potential that DropCards has, and here's why. We live in a world where data is the new oil, and analyzing the contact sharing process is like sitting on top of a massive, untapped shale play. No one is even analyzing this data. It's useful for businesses. We can allow businesses to take control of this resource by attaching tags to their cards, which can then be ported into a CRM like Salesforce. Now that your business card can go viral, it means that you can watch people, meeting people, sharing and promoting your business. And you can identify marketing demographics. You can follow this chain back so that you can determine the best way for your business to connect with your consumer. It provides less hassle for businesses. So say that it provides less hassle for businesses. When you get someone new to your company, it may not be very expensive to buy more business cards whenever you gain a new employee or they change phone numbers or job titles, but it's a hassle that you as a business owner shouldn't have to worry about. Also, what if you're trying to get a hold of someone that no longer works for your company? If a customer is trying to contact someone that's no longer your employee or they've changed phone numbers, this is a problem. But DropCards can update all this information remotely so that the correct info is automatically updated on people's phones. This means that when you walk, we're using the Colorado Businesses Geocoded database to drop basic card information on every business in the state of Colorado. This is vital for our application, and it means that when you walk by a coffee shop or a business incubator or an office space, you won't see this, or this, or this. Instead, we hope you will see this. In the first year of development, we're going to target to meetup groups, event planners, and conventions, because these are the kind of people that are constantly making new connections. It's going to help us develop a broad user base. After our first year, we are going to target to larger corporations who can take advantage of our contact management system and the analytic data that we can provide them with. We're going to monetize our app with premium features, some of which include a bounce back option, so that you can pick up a card that you bounced to someone else so you can get their information even if you shared their card to them. You can take notes so that you can remember someone that you took their card, and you can also control the amount of time that your card is at a certain location. Along our GoCode journey, we've had the opportunity to network with MLM company owners, startup veterans, mentoring panels, and we even got to have a one-on-one session with a guy from Google where we stayed up until 3 in the morning talking about ideas. As a team composed entirely of students, one of which just graduated high school last week, and another who just graduated from Colorado Mesa University, we would like to thank you very much for the learning opportunity. Thank you.
All right, we're on for Q&A.
So I've got a question. If you're not using NFC, How do you kind of contain the card? How many people it can spread to in a certain location?
Mm-hmm. So we're able to actually use your phone's geolocation data, so it's very high accuracy. Depending on the device that you have, it might be lower accuracy, but it's actually getting pretty sufficient right now. You can dial it down to a pretty close radius. And we're also going to be using timing functions. So when I drop a card, it's going to be distributed to an area like about the size of a room. If it's a business, you might be able to control that distance or something like that. And then it will expire after a certain amount of time. So if we're in the same room, I'll drop it on my phone, I can meet you, we can have this personal exchange, I don't have to worry about getting a business card, and then you can just pick it up on your phone.
Sky's the limit with geocoded data. Mm-hmm. What other sort of data drops have you thought about?
There are a lot of applications for this. I even talked with a teacher the other day that was saying, it would be so great to have my classroom schedule in a card that I could share with all the parents that come to their classroom. There is a lot of geolocated business data, and this is just the one that we chose to showcase because we feel that it is where the money's at, but there are a lot of options for it, yes.
If you had your dream strategic partnership with any company in the world, which one would it be?
That's a tough question. And to be honest, I'm not going to narrow it down to one company, even though that's probably what you want from me. There are several. We have 2 local companies, actually. We made a connection at Mentoring Weekend with someone who knows people who own 2 contact management system companies. So they already have a lot of the infrastructure that we would really need for this. And we might be partnering with them. One of the other suggested options was that we could be bought out. We could be acquired by a company who already does physical business cards. As I see this would be, it would definitely kind of fringe into their markets. It would be outdating their business cards. They might want to take on this. One more question? No? Okay. Thank you.
That's DropCards from Grand Junction. Let's just hear for Grand Junction. How many people are here from Grand Junction? Arsenio Hall here tonight. Yeah. That's different than I remember, but okay, so we have Startup to CEO SWO on deck. And next up, we're going to be hearing from Regulation Explorer, putting oil and gas regulations on the map. In the meantime, I'm just asking the crowd again if they could. Is it it? Are we done? Dude. All right. Go Code Colorado here at the Seawell Ballroom, which, by the way, these people are fantastic. This place is beautiful. Please give it up for Regulation Explorer.
Hello everyone, my name is Emily Huney and I'm here to present Regulation Explorer, an application which is putting Colorado oil and gas regulations on the map. In 2014, a Denver-based energy company was looking to permit wells in northeastern Colorado. The area of interest was largely agricultural and had a low density of residential buildings. This was a relatively simple area to work in compared to most in the Colorado Front Range. However, what this company found was that from the time when they first started looking at this area until the time when they actually obtained their permits, that they would spend over $9,000 on regulatory consulting services, over $100,000 on surface use agreements, and well over 400 man-hours were devoted to the regulations and permitting process. This is an example of a lengthy and expensive permitting system that is driven by complex regulations on the industry and by a lack of easily obtained information about local communities. Currently, the only tools available to operators to navigate this system are hundreds of pages of regulations and a confusing online map that is run by the state. In the best case scenario, a company will spend tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, obtaining permits for a well. In the worst case scenario, they will invest these types of resources in a location that cannot be permitted or is not agreeable with the local community. Enter Regulation Explorer, an application which provides options for energy companies for helping them understand all of their options prior to investing significant resources in any one location. Sourcing over 16 publicly available data sets, 11 of which are from SIM or a SIM partner, geographic representations of regulations are modeled using a combination of quantum GIS software and Python scripting. The resulting output is then displayed on an interactive mapping platform that allows an end user to upload their layers for their areas of interest, to interact with data through pop-ups and mouseovers, and then ultimately to run reports detailing information on regulations and features at each possible location that they might work in. Not only does this streamline efficiency and the early planning stages of getting a permit, but it encourages transparency into the permitting process and encourages early dialogue with local communities. With the ability to understand exactly what options are furthest from schools, daycares, and population centers, the Regulation Explorer application is transforming the question of where can we drill to what is the best location to drill. This means that there are multiple beneficiaries to this application, including the general public through increased transparency, and the regulatory agencies who will be able to use this application to validate the accuracy of information on pending permits. However, our primary clients will be businesses working in the energy industry. This will include operating companies and consulting companies who will pay for a yearly subscription to this application. We estimate that over $90 million goes in and out of the Colorado oil and gas permitting system each year. And we are confident that with our ability to vastly improve the efficiency of this system, that we will be able to capture a portion of this market. Considering how much money is at stake, there are surprisingly few competitors operating in this space. The only one that we have identified so far is a company called Petroleum Field Services. Now, PFS, they offer an online map with some layers relating to regulation. However, they rely heavily on the end user to build many of the most important layers and data sets that are related to the safety regulations. We are fundamentally different than PFS. Not only do we have these layers pre-built and ready to go, but we also have additional features and information that help streamline the efficiency and the permitting process. These are services that we know companies and stakeholders want because we have done early market validation testing of this product, all of which has been received incredibly positively. And we have the team that can realize this product to its full potential. Between our data scientists, our computer scientists, our business experts, and our over 40 years of combined energy industry experience, we have built a product that is helping Colorado communities and Colorado businesses. Thank you.
All right, we're good for Q&A.
Okay, I have kind of a weird question.
Yep.
Do you think the citizens of the state of Colorado actually want this to go really slowly?
I think what they really want is to be involved in this process, and we've seen that time and time again. They want to be aware of how these locations are selected, and they want to know what thought is put into them up front. They want to know that the companies care about where they're putting these drilling locations relative to the community. So we've worked really hard to bring the community front and center when they vet any potential location. So immediately they know where the nearest school is. Immediately they know where the nearest daycare is.
Do you have any liability issues around this? Should your data be off or inaccurate?
We're working on the terms of conditions, terms of service. That is definitely very valid, but we are working on ways to mitigate that, and we have also looked into insurance and gotten estimates on that. However, this is information that they need and they need to collect at some point. However, right now it's a very clumsy, slow process.
Are you familiar with the term democratization? It's something that has happened in a lot of different industries, including music and publishing. This strikes me as a possibility, your company, as a possibility to democratize oil and gas industry a bit.
I'm sorry, I'm not actually familiar with that.
It just means that the big players don't get to play quite as much, and all the little players can play too.
Yes, it's supposed to even the playing field for people who can't afford, tons of lawyers and tons of regulatory experts. And in all honesty, everyone in the industry needs to be aware of regulations. This provides a platform to make sure that everyone has at least a basic understanding of what regulations apply depending on what location you're working in.
Are schools and things like that good predictors of opposition to drilling efforts? Or one thing that strikes me is just kind of loud people are loud people, or really social media enabled people have a voice that's bigger than their actual voice?
Well, that's a great question. We've seen a lot of controversy around schools in particular. However, there's also information out there that we plan on incorporating on areas that have have been very opposed to any activity. And then there are areas that are very in favor of it. So it goes both ways, and operators need to take that into account early on as to where they're wanted.
Regulation Explorer from Fort Collins. And now the judges will convene. PJ is prepared, the audience also. Regulation Explorer from Fort Collins. So we have Startup to CEO. They're on deck. And after Startup to CEO, Home Power Direct from Durango. And we finished up the evening with another Grand Junction team in TrailWise. So we're wrapping it up here. And it's hard not to be impressed, because not only did they go through the data, but then they built the thing and then had to come up with an awesome presentation, all in less than 2 months. So very impressive, very impressive. I think it's happening now, so I'm just going to mention one sponsor while he's there. We need to thank the Statewide Internet Portal Authority. Now this is a government, SIPA is their acronym, and they're the government partner that helps state agencies implement technology solutions that better serve their customers and public.
Dude!
All right, and now, hailing from Fort Collins as well. Hailing from Fort Collins, it's Startup to CEO.
In 2010, I left my career and joined the 1,288 women who start businesses every day. Like many entrepreneurs, I wanted more control over my own professional destiny. Like many mothers, I craved a better work-life balance. I'm part of the 9.4 million women nationwide who own their own business. But my path to get here was long. I didn't live in a place with much support for new entrepreneurs, let alone women trying to make business ownership mesh with parenting. I made mistakes. I faced challenges common to women entrepreneurs: limited business knowledge and expertise, lack of access to capital, limited high-level connections, an occasional case of imposter syndrome. In 2015, I joined 5 women to found a nonprofit, Allied Women Entrepreneurs. In 13 months, more than 135 Fort Collins women have become members. I want to see myself and other female entrepreneurs succeed, but when I see charts like this, I worry. Growth for women-owned businesses is stagnant. Employment rates and revenues haven't changed since 1997, and women-owned businesses only make $155,000 per year in average annual revenues. Over and over, other women tell me that they are experiencing the same challenges I faced. NAVO and AGWA, these are just 2 examples of business networking groups and nonprofits like mine. We are not doing enough. Startup to CEO is a company with 2 distinct products, one B2B and one B2C, which will help women-owned businesses grow. Our mission is to create a focused community that connects female entrepreneurs to resources and peer support, and to close the size and revenue gap between women-owned and other privately held businesses. This is our first product, an online community with resources targeted to women entrepreneurs. At a basic level, Startup to CEO will provide free resources such as ebooks, podcasts, and weekly business tips. Women driven to take their business to the next level can join our community of equally driven and passionate female entrepreneurs. Members will have access to webinars, business blueprints, videos, community discussion forums, and regular online conferences for a monthly or annual fee. There are hypotheses about why women-owned businesses struggle, and we're doing our best to provide solutions. But truly knowing why they struggle and accurately measuring success of improvement initiatives is only possible with accurate data. We want to develop the only accurate database of women-owned businesses in the state and even the nation. We will improve the data available to government entities, nonprofits, and companies striving to support women entrepreneurs. Improving data starts with an app called Shop Women Owned, which maps all Colorado women-owned businesses. Shop Women Owned is Startup to CEO's consumer-focused app and the second product we are sharing here today. Businesses get listed for free, providing women in early stages of ownership the things they need most: a web presence and a way to be found online by potential customers. This helps increase revenues by bringing customers to their doors. But Shop Women Owned does more than that. It is also a tool through which Startup to CEO will achieve its goal of improving data on women-owned businesses. To generate our initial listing, registered agent names from the business entities and trade name data sets are processed through our custom-built gendering tool, which uses Social Security name data. We recognize this is problematic. Registered agents are not necessarily the actual or only owner of a business, and in many cases, name records are incomplete. Our solution includes using data from the US Census and Mergent Intellect for validation, individually contacting suspected women-owned businesses for confirmation, and creating a grassroots campaign that encourages the public to help verify ownership. My name is Amber Hines, and I am part of a team that believes women-owned businesses matter. Supporting women's businesses helps the economy as a whole and drives growth in local communities. Dollars spent at women-owned businesses are more likely to stay local. Women are more likely to set up enterprises that support social change. They are more likely to align their business pursuits with their values and more likely to give back through philanthropy. You can help. Tell all the women business owners you know about Startup to CEO and our mission, and go to shopwomenowned.com.
All right, Q&A.
Okay, Amber, I have a question that I struggle with almost every hour on the hour. So you're incredibly talented. I'm sure your entire team is at the same level, right? How do you feel about putting yourself in a situation at this stage in your career where you're focusing on amplifying the talents of women instead of creating a more general ecosystem for the increase of talent that cares about social change, for example, or donations to philanthropy? Because I can tell you from my experience, you'll be getting emails mainly about women for like the rest of your life.
I do understand that. I've sort of already put myself in that position with the nonprofit that I helped to found and I'm on the board of. I think that there is some real research and evidence behind the fact that there are challenges that significantly face women in the business world. And as a woman business owner, I don't like it. And I want to change it. So, you know, if I get emails all about women for the rest of my life, awesome. Maybe that is doing something awesome.
So you said there's hypotheses as to why there aren't more successful or larger women-owned businesses. What are they?
What I said is there are hypotheses about why, in general, businesses that are owned or partially owned by women, that's the other kicker there, right? It doesn't matter if it's wholly women-owned. It could just have one struggle. And those hypotheses are what I listed before. So things like lack of access to capital is a huge thing. Also, maybe they don't have educational resources or they don't have the same sort of high-level connections that you sometimes see in privately held businesses that don't have women on the boards.
What are your ideas around expanding this to other minority-type businesses?
So for now, our focus is specifically women, and we would like to see our expansion go beyond Colorado, probably before we would target another specific minority group. Because the assumption is that the challenges faced by other minority groups, while they may also have challenges, are not necessarily the same, and to lump them all in is not necessarily fair to them.
Have you explored membership organizations like YPO that has these notions of forums, which are highly intimate places
Yes.
and times that allow people, in essence, to mentor one another?
Mm-hmm. Like a young professionals organization? Yeah, so we have looked at a huge number of organizations, some of which are very similar to us, some of which are more just like women focused but don't offer the exact same things. We are planning on having a discussion forum, and we are working on, as we grow, actually doing mastermind matching so that we are connecting people with, whether it's in the same industry but in a different part of the state, so that they can do that.
That's it. Startup, the CEO from
Hey, you're welcome.
Fort Collins still have the Foothills Fashion Mall. Is that a thing? I was about okay. When I was a kid, I was from Gould, Colorado. Anybody ever heard of Gould, Colorado? Oh, it's like finding a unicorn. It's like, yeah, that's where I grew up in Gould. So Foothills Fashion Mall, going there, and there were stoplights in Fort Collins. It was overwhelming. There's so much happening. But let's see, I can update you on news. If you're into basketball, the Golden State Warriors are ahead going into the end of the third quarter. You and my Gould fan could start like a really small club. Did you ever have that? Okay, I was about to get into it. What I think. Okay, now on deck is TrailWise from Grand Junction. But right now, let me get DJ out of the way. This basketball story is pretty funny, so I'll see. But right now, we're doing some online solar stuff, some innovations that they're going to tell you about right now. Please give it up from Durango, Home Power Direct.
Energy is the foundation of modern life, yet it's currently fueled by finite resources which can be harmful to people and the environment. With a background in oil and gas, our team is aware of the need for energy transition. We are Home Power Direct, an online solar marketplace which connects solar providers with Colorado homeowners. But our benefits extend to all Coloradans who benefit from every system installed and each pound of carbon offset. Over the past 10 years, solar costs have dropped 67%, for the first time offering customers a viable alternative to conventional power. Colorado has capitalized on this boom, growing to 400 companies employing 5,000 Coloradans. But when things move this fast, there's bound to be friction. And in the case of solar, this is true for both providers and customers. Solar providers currently spend an outrageous $2,000 to $5,000 on customer acquisition costs. This is primarily driven because solar is mostly sold door to door by sales reps who collect commissions. Not only is this process costly, but it's capturing an older demographic, leaving providers struggling to reach millennials. For the customer, it's information overload. There are multiple types of solar deals and various non-standard contracts. It's virtually impossible to navigate on your own. You're forced to choose between spending hours or even days of research or just having no price transparency at all. Well, Home Power Direct offers that transparency to customers and for providers the opportunity to reduce their customer acquisition costs. As a customer, you're greeted with simple to understand educational materials to understand solar and how to financially compare the different options. Next, we collect data to help us collect data from you, the customer, to understand if solar makes sense for your house. First, we ask how much you're currently spending with utilities. Next, we ask what the pitch of the roof is. We ask you to guess what the pitch of the roof is, or estimate the pitch of the roof for the where the solar would be installed. And then finally, the direction that roof faces. These inputs combined with public solar and weather data allow us to size a system specific to your house and then generate this easy to understand financial analysis. If this analysis looks good, you get instant offers from multiple providers. Clicking on each of these offers, you're able to see more details about each provider and their specific offer details. If a deal looks right, you commit to an offer by signing a contract. What once took hours or even days has now been boiled down to mere minutes. But what's behind this, enabling this to happen? On our provider site, it's all about sales automation and market insight. Offers are generated to customers instantly based on rules that providers set on this page. Providers can say where they want to sell solar, how much they want to sell solar for, and they can even set rules for how they want to compete against other solar providers. For example, a solar provider with excellent customer service may want to capture a premium on that, on their reputation. So they would set a rule that would say, I don't want to come out as the cheapest option in the pack, but I also don't want to be the most expensive. Now, solar providers can set multiple types of these strategies based on system size and the location. Now, to inform these competitive strategies, we provide an interactive map that allows them to research key demographic information, allowing them to tailor pricing strategies specific to a zip code. Now, we go above and beyond our current competition, offering customers unbiased transparency and providers market insight, automation, and signed contracts. Now, we're going to charge providers $1,000 to $2,000 per closed deal, which is a lot less than they currently spend on customer acquisition costs. This, combined with commissions from loans and banks, will give us $1,900 per deal. Now, if we look at 2017 national solar projections, 5% of the market, or roughly 29,000 deals, would result in $55 million in gross revenue, or 256 million pounds of carbon offset. Now, public data is integral to Home Power Direct. Climate data allows us to look at location-specific exposure and size systems accordingly. We look at incentives that make sure that customers don't miss one single dollar of savings, and we look at zip codes to provide that competitive insight to providers. Now, we've completed our minimally viable product, but there's more work to be done. With funds from GoCo Colorado, we're going to build additional features, we're going to complete a comprehensive marketing plan, and we're going to launch in a pilot city to prove market concept. Thank you.
All right, judges, Q&A.
Okay, so you are the blank of solar. Elance Upwork, Angie's List, or Zillow, or something else?
Oh gosh, I guess the closest to Angie's List. Angie's List is some of the biggest purchases that are made online. People buy cars online, but in terms of home improvement, Angie's List makes big purchases online. And we're going to do the same thing as Angie's List, which is offer guarantees to customers of satisfaction. And we're going to mitigate against bad work by having a comprehensive screening process for our providers, making sure that rework is a low percentage.
Have you talked to any of the solar providers, and do they seem to be on board with this idea?
So the big solar providers, lowering customer acquisition costs is the key issue facing solar providers today. Everybody would agree to that. The biggest solar providers like Solar City, Sunrun, etc. would be more apt to jump on an app like this because they're looking for volume. However, small providers are currently focused on growth. That's one of our challenges, is convincing smaller providers to change their strategy from gross on fewer deals to volume and making, and surviving this current period of market compression.
Did you say how many providers there were?
There are 200 providers in Colorado right now, but nationally there's several more.
So you have a two-sided marketplace problem. How are you going to deal with that?
So we actually view the biggest challenge is bringing the provider on. A lot of people, so we're at the beginning of the hockey stick on solar implementation. So people are searching for solar, and we're confident that with the right marketing strategy, we can get to the top of the search list, and we can get people to our site, and we can keep them on our site. But the issue is with solar providers, and again, convincing them to change their market strategy accordingly. But again, we think that we're saving them significantly on customer acquisition costs, which are currently far too high to be sustainable in the long term.
state regulations around solar implementation?
There are actually. It's a challenge. So there are different incentives. That's probably the easiest to mention. There's the largest solar incentive, but by county there can be different solar incentives. But our site currently pulls from an incentive database that allows us to incorporate that and make sure that the customer captures all of those incentives when they sign up for solar. All right, thank you.
All right, Home Power Direct from Durango. And we'll have our final team coming up here in mere moments as the judges deliberate. As the judges deliberate, and we'll be hearing from TrailWise, which reminds me, this isn't actually for me and my girth bounding around up here. It's something that TrailWise is going to do. I get excited. I look like a manatee having a nightmare. It's weird, but this is for them. This is for them. I had some really good comedy, but this guy so fast. Okay, so this is it. So what we're going to have one more presentation after this, and then we're going to hear from Katie Glassman in Snapshot as the judges deliberate.
Dude.
Fist bump you, and you Arsenio, and ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for TrailWise.
Hello, I'm Emily Castleton, and I am one of 9 members of Team TrailWise, and essentially we are Ways for Trails. So my family moved here over 100 years ago to explore the great outdoors of Colorado. We've done everything from hiking to camping to fishing, and I've grown up on the trails since a little girl. But now there's this new sport in Colorado. It's
mountain biking. All right, hi, I'm Zach. I moved out to Colorado 3 years ago from Arkansas, and I've been riding for about 6 years now, and something I've come to realize is the cycling community is super special because it brings people from all walks of life together for something they're super passionate about. And so I went with that, and I went and interviewed my buddies at about 6 different bike shops and asked them what they could use state data for. And they all came back with, we need to be able to show riders current trail conditions.
We interviewed over dozens of riders at multiple riding events and asked them, what would you like in an app? And they really wanted a simple way of being able to report trail conditions. So now with these numbers, these numbers are just for cycling in Colorado for resorts. So they bring in roughly $141 to $193 million. And if we estimate that we're going to have a penny per impression for a targeted advertisement for people who are going to that location to mountain bike, and then we would estimate that it would be $12,000 monthly and $144,000 annually. Now realize that these are very conservative numbers. They're just for mountain biking in resorts, not in Colorado in total. So this is our beta MVP product. So what we've done here is we've overlaid multiple data sets that we're using from GoCode. So we have human-bear interactions, right, because it's from Colorado, as well as other 30 species that we're including, as well as weather underground, campsite data, and pedestrian counts. So, but instead of showing this to our consumer, we're going to simplify it to a badge so that you can earn a badge while on a trail. So this is our mock-up that we brought to the riding events and asked them, what would you suggest? And so they wanted to be able to have a demographic. So, hey, I'm interested in biking, I'm interested in camping. But then also note the advertisement there. So now you've selected the perfect trail for you. So it has the trail, the badges you could earn, or maybe coupons that you can pick up, as well as estimated trail conditions that we create, as well as conditions that other riders have given out. So now you're on the trail and you don't need data for this part. So, I run into an issue and I'm going to hit the report icon. And from that, we're asking one question to better help everyone who's going to use those trails. And hey, I earned part of a beer or any reward, maybe it's a coupon. So now you're back in civilization and you have internet. So now we're going to ask 2 more questions, and then with that, we're going to give you another incentive for submitting. And so this builds the writing community because we want anyone who's coming out to those trails to have a good time. Now these are our current competitors, and they have pieces of our app, but none of them do it all at once. So there's badge incentivizing, there's building the community, there's static information, but there's infrequent log use of the trail conditions. So we're going to fix that. These are our trail conditions that we're using right now. And so with that human bear interaction, again, it's actually 30 species that we're using right now. So we realize that mountain biking is just the new sport in Colorado. And we can scale this out to camping, hiking, fishing, ATV, so that anyone who comes to Colorado, both visitors and residents, can use the state data in a positive way and have an amazing adventure in Colorado. Thank you.
Okay, judges, you can go.
So how do you anticipate working with or against your competitors? Maybe let's talk about MTV Project.
So MTV Project does use OpenStreetMaps. That's one of the data sources we're using as well. But one of the things they don't have is like a reporting feature, or at least it's not used if it is available, of reporting features of the trails. So we're trying to actually take from Strava the gamification, but instead of the main gamification being how fast you can ride the trails, it's more about how many times you report a trail. We're more like the mayor of the trail, or someone who's taking care of the trail.
But we'd be happy to point to Mountain Bike Project if they're interested in that, so that we don't have to create that part. We're really about the trail conditions.
You know, Waze gives you obviously a lot of feedback. There's a big incentive to get there quickly, and I'm not positive that you have the same incentive necessarily just to report on trails. Have you really thought through what other ways you could incent people to have the app open?
Yeah, there are a number of things, but we will say that it was both when we interviewed the businesses, before we even started the project, we interviewed businesses, they were saying that not being able to answer that question about trail conditions was important to them, and when we went out to the riders and we interviewed them at a couple different events, they were also saying that the trail conditions were important. Now it could be other things too. It could be, you know, how good was the bathroom or how well it was maintained. There's lots of features we can expand on. But for the most part, you know, that was the main thing. And the incentivization, the bikers, like Zach says, they really want to work together to make it a great experience for everybody out there.
It's a community.
And it really does build community. And like the bicycle shops didn't really want to be seen as competing against each other as much as lifting, you know, the rising tide lifting all boats.
Because really you're competing against somebody sitting home playing video game. You're wanting them to come out and enjoy these trails in Colorado.
And they live in Colorado. They go see something amazing.
So I think you said revenue, you mentioned a penny per impression. Can you talk a little bit more about the revenue stream?
Yeah, so we see that as targeted advertisement. So we also interviewed businesses that were at the ride events, and they're like, well, the only thing I can do to target these people who are coming in is Facebook. These people are coming to the Grand Valley to mountain bike, to ride, and there's no way for them to say, hey, I have a yogurt shop or I have a cafe, come on down, we're mountain biking friendly. So there is no avenue for that. But we also foresee like a premium package for like the riders themselves if you want more information, something that would be more B2C, but really B2B is those targeted advertisements for those local businesses.
All right, there you go. Good job. They're like Waze for trails. Next, do you want to write off? You want to do a thing? Tricks? Tricks? Okay. All right. He gets extra points for wearing spandex in front of a crowd. And, I would do that, but it looks like cottage cheese wrapped in saran wrap. So none of all of these. I think this is the big story here is that these have mostly survived. That's the big story. So we have done it. Now I know Colorado Springs has spirits. Can we just hear that again? Yeah. Awesome. That's, and there's some contingent over there. And Grand Junction. Let's hear from Grand Junction. And that's not a short drive. That is not a short drive. Let's see. Fort Collins. Solid. The Grand Junction people may have outdone you, and you only have an hour or less. Let's see here. Denver. Oh, wow. I just gave away a car on The Price is Right to that woman. Let's see. I did. What did we Durango. Yes. I'm a Fort Lewis College alum, so we have much to discuss as soon as I am able to recall some of it. So, we good? Cool. All right. So what's going to happen now is Katie Glassman and Snapshot going to play some music. The bar is consolidated over there. They're ready to help you out. Make sure to just make sweet love to them with your wallet. Help them out there. And we will be back after some deliberation with Secretary Wayne Williams and the winners of Go Code Colorado 2016.